Okay, I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but this video is to do with the recent England performance in India. Now, in recent times, the English team have been playing some very good cricket at home and abroad, and now, you know, they're the best Test nation in the world, the T20 champions, and they've gone bravely over to India with some new bright young faces looking to continue under Captain Cook, and they've gone to India and found themselves getting drubbed. I for one am not surprised, because in India it's a totally different situation. The pitches, as we know, are more suited to the A-players subcontinent. It should have been no surprise, and I don't know what all the fuss is about. Now, if we were to look at England over the last 2 to 3 years, they've played some very good cricket, but I'm just speaking it and saying it as it is. A lot of people don't like me for saying it as it is, but this is the way it goes. England have played very good cricket over the last 2 to 3 years. However, they've played against some very poor opposition, and when I mean poor opposition, I mean there's always been some problems within the camps they've played against, squads they've played against. I know you can't blame England for that, but my problem is this, and my biggest problem is this, and I'm going to have a real rant about the England team. Why is England always going to pick South African players? If you look at the current England Test squad, how many players are there are not born in England, but born abroad, born in South Africa or Australia, and playing for England? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And as a cricket coach, I find it appalling. I mean, what vision can I give to a young kid, you know, in England? I'm coaching them and say to them, you know, one day you'll get to play for England. When they're playing county cricket, they get a chance to play for the county, and then some guy who's learnt his trade in South Africa comes across and gets to play for England. And you know, the only test this is the only Test nation in the world that's doing this nonsense. This should not be allowed. You know, how can you consider yourself the best in the world, but half your players are not even homegrown talent? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not on. I mean, you look at the T20 and how they won the T20. Yes, they've done it, but the players they've had Kisweta, they've had Peterson, Trott. You know, the list goes on and on. Now they've got this new fast bowler they've brought out as well, and for me, it just turns me off watching this team play cricket. It really does. You know, they're in England, and it's again of no surprise. In India are a fabulous side, but any cricket fan knows that once India steps out of India and they start to come and play cricket abroad, there's problems. They come to England, you know what's going to happen. And you know, the series has shown that. The Test series has shown that. I'm not saying England are a bad Test nation. That's not what I'm saying here. But I'm saying, let's look at the facts and the figures. And how many of those players, if we had a homegrown England side, question is, would England be the #1 Test nation in the world? Just a question. Just a question. Now, the other point is the other day they lost a one-day game because Trott was taking so long to score runs. Look, you can't have it both ways. The man scores 100 and you turn around and say, well, he's not scoring fast enough. On the other hand, you're saying, well, we need somebody at number 3 to score runs for us. What do you want? How's it going to be? You know, the fact of the matter is this: Jonathan Trott is what he is. He's not a T20 player. You know that. I know that. He'll score his runs and not the ones and twos about. But he's not a man who's going to literally go and take a team apart. He's not a Jack Callis, you know. And this is something that we have to be, the England team needs to be aware of. He's a good player, very good player, Test level. But you're playing one-day cricket with him. What do you expect? You know, and now the English should get the taste of their own medicine out in India. You know, it's going to be a baptism of fire for some of these players. They probably thought they could just walk over there and win a a 50-50 game, a 50 over game. Look, England have never been good at playing 50 over cricket. Nothing new. They've never been good at playing 50 over cricket. But I guess this goes back as well to what we're doing here in England. What are they coaching in England? I mean, you look at all the kids they're playing cricket, 20 over cricket. 13, 14, even up to 17 they're playing 20 over cricket. But they're not shown how to play 20 over cricket. How do you build innings? And this is going now into coaching, a bit more into coaching, and slightly off the topic, but you're told, a lot of coaches up and down the country, they'll turn around and say to a kid, all right, I want you to go in there and get some runs, but don't get out. I mean, what sort of a message are you sending? You're in the nets, the first thing you're teaching the kid to do is block and block, block, block. This is the way you're meant to do it. This is the way you're meant to do it. This is the way you're meant to play. If again, I'm not having a dig here. It's just an observation. If the ECB, they've got their coaches coaching this style and saying this is the way to coach. If this is the way to coach, and if this is the way in their manual, and they believe that their coaching is the best in the world, then why don't they just keep producing homegrown talent and not having to rely on the South African players? If that's the case, then why don't you just whip up the ECB coaching manual and start coaching that the way they coach in South Africa or Australia? If that's the case, I'm confused here, and I don't understand for me, I don't understand what is going on in terms of the coaching, what we're giving our kids today, and then afterwards we're going and pulling players over from another country. I mean, what sort of message are we sending? What sort of message are we sending back to our kids here in this country, and any young player that wanted to play cricket? And the whole thing with the T20, it is the way to go, it seems, and it looks like there are going to be more players that are going to go towards the T20, retire early. What's going to be the future for Test cricket? Are England where they are now because players in India can't be bothered to play Test cricket anymore? Are South Africa and Australia suffering because of T20? I'd love to hear your opinions, so let me know. Thanks for your time. Goodbye.